far downfield. And here is the race for second as Lindley now gets some real pressure here from Neifel. Neifel trying to move down on the inside, and he just had one bad lap in there. He has caught back up and is right into the thick of it now. Let's see if we can find out more about that Bruce Jenner story. It's the second Porsche 944 to retire, and Bob has that story down on pit road.
Dave, I spoke with the Bruce Jenner crew, and as was the case with the Elliott Forbes Robinson car, they're just not sure what happened to force team owner Bruce Jenner out of the race. They do know it's not the same thing that happened to Elliott Forbes Robinson, and that his problem was electronic. This one appeared to be mechanical. The crew said the car sounded terribly flat as it drove by the pit area and just quit at the top of the hill.
Well, thank you, Bob Barsha. There is Pete Halsmer. His return to the race was a brief one. Apparently his problems have reoccurred. And so the second of the two Mercures in the field is retired. The other one is right up at the head of the field. Halsmer, an unhappy man. A lot of people predicting that he and Scott Pruitt will battle for this championship all season long. And here's your old championship winning car right there, David. Bob Brewer at the wheel.
Number 29, the same car that won this race, flag to flag in 1983, and of course went on to become the champion.
With you at the wheel.
Oh, is that right? So it was.
They're battling for 12th right here, and that's Bob Sobey. Look out. Inside goes Brewer, and he gave Sobey a pretty good tap, and if I were Sobey, I'd be a little unhappy about that.
Well, I would be too. I mean, he did leave the door open, but on the other hand, Brewer did seem to make a bit of a hash of that whole deal.
You'd have never done that in that
Sure.
car. Out front, here is Pruitt, away from all of that altercation. Once again, that was the race for 12th that was going on. At the moment, there is no race for the lead. Pruitt has pulled away. Here's a replay of that mishap. I don't know. Kind of close to call, actually.
Yeah, it's just one of those racing incidents. He thought there was a bit of a gap there, and obviously Sobey left him room, and he took it. And, of course, then Sobey shut the door on him with the inevitable consequence, unfortunately, because it's pushed him off the road.
Yeah, in replay, I would say maybe Sobey was as much at fault as Brewer was. Anyway, Sobey remains on the race. Sobey is off the racetrack. Here is the man who is running his hometown track with style today. Scott Pruitt says he likes this place a lot.
Well, I think there's so many different types of turns. I mean, there's off-cambers, decreasing radius turns, uphills, downhills, carousels, switchbacks, hairpins. I think there's a little bit of everything, and there's not much time to rest out here at all. There's no real straightaway, so you always have to keep on your toes.
Scott Pruitt from nearby Roseville, California, with a great run here today. Anaheim's Les Lindley a second. Then comes Illinois' Chris Neifel, and that's the battle as Larry Park hangs on to fourth spot, and it's a close fourth. That could be a good three-car race at the end.
It certainly is a good race. Scott Pruitt, unfortunately, has taken real command of this race, like I really expected him to. And earlier on, Lindley was giving him a run for his money there, but I think that Lindley has fallen back into the clutches of Neifel, and that's going to be a real battle for second spot.
And they are still squabbling over that. The officials are going to have to decide after the fact whether Lindley made a legal pass. There is Deborah Gregg directly in front of Scott Pruitt. She's the only woman driver in the field and has charged from deep in the pack, way back about 36 starting spot up to midfield. She's had a good run today. Pruitt moving by to lap her as he runs toward the checkered flag here. I don't think anybody's going to touch him. He's been on rails all day. His only problem might come from a back marker like this.
Well, I think at this stage he's got enough cushion there to be very careful when he's overtaking back markers, and that's one of Scott Pruitt's trademarks. I mean, he is a very fast, aggressive driver, but he doesn't take absolutely unnecessary risks.
The Mercure Classic about to fall into appropriate hands as Mercure driver Scott Pruitt comes charging down toward the finish. This is the final lap of the event, and he has opened up the tap here, pulling away from his challengers and taking that turbocharged Mercury into an easy lead. Here is the move by Lindley to the inside on Gregg, and he'll get by without problem. But second place, definitely the only issue here. As turning for home, Scott Pruitt heads past the pits for the final time. The Ford folks cheering him on. And turning for the checkered flag, there it is. Scott Pruitt has won the Mercure Classic here at Sears Point. A celebration to the Jack Roush team. And they definitely did it in good style here this afternoon.
And that was his mother also giving him the old victory salute there. Les Lindley came in second. Scott Neifel was third. Those two just opened up a bit of a gap on the last lap as well.
Les Lindley moving up to congratulate Scott Pruitt, who gives us a wave here as he works his way around on the cool-off lap and heads for victory lane. An impressive drive here. He had to come from deep in the pack at the start, worked his way through traffic. Once he took command of the race, he set a smart pace. He didn't use up his race car. He ran the kind of race he needed to, interrupted by an awful lot of yellows. And when it was all over, he was right at the top of the heap. Les Lindley second, Chris Neifel third. We'll be back to meet the winner in a moment.
To those preparing for another season of Trans Am racing, we have a message. Remember last year when XR4 Ti led Lincoln Mercury to its third straight championship? Well, to all of you still haunted by that performance, we have some bad news. We're back. XR4 Ti. Imported from Germany for Lincoln Mercury division.
He's won the AmeriCorps Classic in AmeriCorps. However, General Motors with the next 4 finishers. Les Lindley, the independent, in second. Chris Neifel making his only appearance so far in this Bendix Trans Am Series in third. Larry Park and Jim Durhog round out the top 5. Well, right now we go to Victory Circle and Bob Barsha, who's with our winner.
And the winner, Scott Pruitt, accepts the congratulations of Mr. Michael Krenifus. Scott, in terms of your career, that had to be one of the greatest tests of patience in modern motorsports.
I'll tell you, I got to really take my hands off to both. First of all, the crew. We had a real tough weekend coming into it. We had some problems. They came together. They got the thing straightened out, and we came through. And secondly, to the corner workers. I think they had the toughest day out there today. There was so much carnage and so many problems out there that I really got to take my hands off to them.
What does it do to you in your driving when you spend that much time following the yellow flag? Did you have concerns about the car, or did that play into your hands?
Well, the biggest thing you're worried about is picking up some type of debris or something that could give you a flat tire. You want to try and keep running in the groove and keep out of trouble as much as possible. The biggest thing is try and keep, picking up any excess debris that could cause a flat tire or something.
Well, another great day. Congratulations, and get on up there and accept your award.
Thank you.
As the winner celebrates, the controversy over second place resolved in favor of Les Lindley. His pass was ruled legal. We'll look at the rest of the top 10 here as the finish order is complete. And let's get Les's account of what happened under that yellow flag.
Now, you had a little kerfuffle out there with Chris Neifel in the Jenner Pontiac. What was going on?
Well, at the restart, he hit me in the rear, and then in the last caution flag, we went up the fire truck, and there was no yellow flag, so we went up the top of the hill, and I passed him. And there was no yellows, and then he come up alongside me. He said, "Let me go back by," and I let him go back by. Then down here, he realized I'd passed him on, no yellow, so he let me go back by.
So the whole thing was solved on the racetrack between gentlemen.
Yes, that's right. That's correct.
Well, that's Mr. Lindley's story. We're going to see a brief replay here of the pass, and of course we will not see a caution flag, as Mr. Lindley says. But of course every argument has a counter-argument, and of course we can now hear Mr. Neifel's story and what he thought happened.
In the midst of all that yellow flagging, you and Les Lindley had a little shuffle. Tell me about that.
Bob Anderson, I mentioned it to him. SCCA asked me not to comment. Since I'm not a regular in the series, I feel I can comment. We came up across start-finish line. There was yellow flag at the outside corner station in 1, inside corner station 1A, and in 2. In turn 2, there was a pace car sign. And Scott Pruitt got out of it. I got out of it, and Les went right on by. Now, it was obvious to me that he just took a spot. Les isn't crazy. He isn't going to go past Lincoln Mercury on the same deal. He knows he wouldn't win that battle. And it's one of those deals. I think it was a little confusion. I didn't have a radio in the car, and I couldn't communicate back. And I think Les knew there was a problem, but it's no hard feelings, and I'm real happy with third place if that's how it turns out.
Okay, congratulations. Thank you.
Neifel implies that politics were an issue here. The non-survivors are brought in on the hook, and a final observation on an interesting race from David Hobbs.
Well, I think the Mercor turbo car winning was fairly indicative of what's going to happen in 1987. On the other hand, the normally aspirated cars were right there at the end, so there's hope for them yet.
In all, a great race for Scott Pruitt. On behalf of David Hobbs, Bob Barsha, and Bob Richards, I'm Dave Despain saying so long from Sears Point.
Promotional consideration and a fee has been paid by
the hand tools for the professional.